Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Blast Away the Game Review. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. I spent quite a bit of time with the Monster Hunter World Beta, and man, can I tell you right now, it is a beautiful game. I mean, it is massive. It's beautiful, and I do want to talk to you all about it, especially because this is the first time a Monster Hunter title has appeared on a PlayStation platform since 2008's Monster Hunter Freedom Unite 2, which really lifted off with the crowds. Now, this beta was exclusive to the PlayStation 4 family. The game is slated to hit PS4, Xbox One in January, while the PC version will be launching later in the year, sometime in mid 2018. So my friends and I decided over the course of the weekend to sit down, hammer out submissions. But in the meantime, before they got on, I decided to actually play some of the single player and really kind of get a feel for it. And so, doing so, I decided to spend a little bit of time with each of the weapon classes, as well as the armor. And unfortunately, the character creation was not present, so I did select a preset character. But let me tell you, folks, this is everything I've wanted out of a Monster Hunter title, and I've put more hours than I care to count on Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. And so the nice part is the fact that, let alone is this the first time we've seen a Monster Hunter on a Sony platform, it's the first time we've seen it on a Sony console since Monster Hunter, I believe it was 2 was the very last one we saw launch. And the one thing that you're going to notice instantly about this is the fact that load times are really short. For this video though, I was using a Samsung SSD 250 gigabyte EVO. It's the 850 EVO family, which you will find in the more information down below to take you to Amazon. We are not sponsored by Samsung, so do not feel that this is a promotional piece, because this is not. But I want to talk right from the get-go about just how overwhelming this beta was, because it was actually overwhelming, really. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat, folks. This game is gigantic. I mean, absolutely gigantic in every way you can imagine a Monster Hunter would be. You know, from the video cues to the sound cues to the audio cues, it's absolutely astounding. As you can see here, I do have it set from mid-range audio to wide range. I decided to put on some surround headphones and just completely absorb everything to take in. You know, I did make sure all the settings were what I wanted, because this is the first time, as I've said, we've had Monster Hunter on a platform like the PS4 in recent years. Yeah, we had 3 Ultimate, which was the definitive edition on the Wii U of the 3DS version, where you could go online and hunt. But we're seeing it on a one-screen platform this time. You know, we're not going to have the Wii U's gamepad sitting in our lap to help us, which kind of changed the experience when said and done. Now, straight up, I can tell you, I wanted to consume everything this game had to offer. I wanted to spend the 25 minutes per hunt and really go through every zone, go through everything possible, just to see what this game had to offer me. The one thing you're going to notice instantly, the moment I left camp, I did not hit a load time. I just jumped straight out. I went straight into the zone. You can see that there are Kelbies everywhere, so you're going to see creatures all over the place. Kelbies, Aptonoths. You're going to see all of them. So Monster Hunter Enthusiast, you have a lot to look forward to. And I mean, you have a lot to look forward to. Even this 22-minute video, which, while choppy, unfortunately the PS4 Pro did record it at 720p. My Elgato capture card died, so I do apologize about how kind of downgraded the visuals are. But it still gives you an idea of the fact this game is absolutely gorgeous. I will post some screenshots at the end for you all to see before the video ends. But what's kind of interesting is I've been highly optimistic about a non-3DS Monster Hunter title. I've had friends of mine going, no, I really want a portable game. I need a Monster Hunter that I can take on the go. I need a Monster Hunter that will be on my Switch or my 3DS, because I can't take my PS4 with me. Well, let me tell you right now, Monster Hunter World is, for me, kind of scary in a lot of ways, and it felt scary in a lot of ways because it changed a formula we've become so used to with the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. It changed a formula that we know and we love, really, being portable, being a game with a lot of load times, being a game that has the community where, say, you're on a road trip, you can have a friend of yours or a couple of friends join you while traveling, as long as you're not the driver, of course. But straight up and honestly, the beta at first was amazingly overwhelming. There was a lot to take in, a lot to learn, having to how to access my potions, the maps, how to use my weapons. All of that was almost a relearned experience, especially since the new traversal options the game also has was quite hard to do at first. You have new travel options where you can go to different camps on the maps because these maps are compared to 3DS and Wii U and Switch is Double Cross, which we imported from Japan. This game is absolutely overwhelming, and I can already tell you folks right now, I'm really excited for a lot of the games 2018 has. We have Detroit Become Human on PS4. We have the Crackdown 3 on Xbox One. We have Pamela for PC that should hopefully be releasing its final version. We have We Happy Few releasing. But let me tell you folks right now, even with a Soul Calibur 6 and Square Enix's Final Fantasy Dissidia NT, this game is going to be my new obsession of 2018. This game is it's going to have a lot for you to take in, and that's what's going to make it a obsessive title. Is there's so much to take in, so much to see, and even in an hour it feels like these maps are so well made that it's going to take a lot of time to learn. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, it's going to be a lot to take in, folks. There's different creatures to hunt, new types of armor, new ways to craft, new areas to explore, new everything. I mean, this game is absolutely overwhelming in a lot of ways. You know, you don't have the old school zoning based maps. You don't have the load times when you go from zone to zone. You don't have all that in place, and you still have to worry about the floor and the fauna because they're still going to kill you, and you don't have that transitioning from point A to point B to save your life anymore because they are going to follow you through this map. And so it's really organic in the way the game feels. It feels much more livelier. And like I said, you're not having load screens every 50 seconds to transition to. So, it really made me want to spend time to go through every map and really see what they're hiding, what is there, and really take in this game's stunningly beautiful non 3DS style graphics. I'm not gonna lie, I really wish I could have. The gameplay ran smooth. It felt like it was staying at a solid 60 frames per second at 1080p on a Pro with a SSD. I'm pretty sure it has dynamic resolution, so it may have been upgrading and downgrading a little bit. But even then, I never once noticed a drop in performance, which was absolutely amazing and something I absolutely loved and enjoyed from the get-go because it did feel so alive. And like I said, I wanted to explore every little secret these maps had to hide. I wanted to search every nook and cranny. I wanted to search high and low. I wanted to climb the size of walls to get up into the canopies on the more forested maps. I wanted to explore this desert-like one, the Wild Spire Waste, or yeah, the Waste, just to see what caverns there is, to see if there's anything that I hadn't seen. I wanted to go see the stampedes of Aptonos as they stampeded away from me because a creature was hunting me down rather than me hunting it down. It's that kind of thing that really drives this game home. In a way, it's almost a shame that we've had to wait so long to get a definitive Monster Hunter experience because the other games are so good in their own respect. But it really feels, folks, that Monster Hunter World is going to be the Monster Hunter that sets the bar for future Monster Hunter games. we are going to expect our own new editor on what our characters will look like. So, we will get to see our characters take our appeal. We will get to see male and female armors completely differentiate from one another in design. There's a lot to really consider whenever the game is completely said and done. And one thing that was really cool, for the sake of this beta, folks, is I had a few friends who have never played a Monster Hunter game. Now, let that sink in for a second. They've never played a Monster Hunter game at all. And while this game did overwhelm them quite a bit, they actually really enjoyed this beta. They're hardcore Bloodborne and Dark Souls fans, so they're used to hard games. They're not used to games like this where if you say this, you take, for example, the Surge. That's the closest thing they'd ever gotten to this game was the Surge. And so they're not used to having to target certain parts of an enemy, having to, use whetstones to sharpen their blades to repair their weapons, or having to use specific combos to build up a weapon's ultimate technique. They weren't having to knock enemies over to break certain body parts. So all this was quite new to them, and it was kind of cool because Monster Hunter World openly invited new players to try something completely new, and it seems like these new players are absolutely going to love this game, because the closest experience that PS4 users have had really to a Monster Hunter game is, say, Toukiden 2. Toukiden 2 was the closest thing they really had to this, or even Toukiden Kiwami. They really didn't get a lot, so it's kind of a really cool thing to think about. And honestly, for a lot of people, Monster Hunter is a series that is really hard to get into, because it's not a niche that a lot of people are going to get into, so it does leave this as a very niche title, and unfortunately that does mean some people are going to get left out, that some people aren't going to understand what they're looking at or what they're doing. But you're going to have players like myself who have, say, 650 to 700 hours in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and another 400 or 500 in Generations, or even 4 Ultimate. So there's, that. And despite being overwhelmed at first, I'm really glad I spent some time to enjoy the game and really take in these changes. I learned how to break parts on the Baroth. I learned how to break parts on the Anja. I got to see a Rathalos fly overhead. So I believe it was a Rathalos, don't quote me there, but I did get to see a lot of stuff. I even got to see how these creatures act in their own habitat, almost like they were living and breathing entities. So it was really cool to actually see that. I got to see the Baroth, as you just saw, go roll in the mud so that the fire damage on my blade wasn't going to hurt him, and he could just shrug it off, or she could just shrug it off like it was nothing. And that was the one thing I really liked. It was kind of nice to actually see the changes happen since Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U. These changes are really what was needing to happen. The game feels a lot more intuitive and accessible, especially to people who are returning and or are new to the game. And so it was kind of nice actually being able to use a proper controller than the 3DS's, C-stick or whatever you want to call that, and the analog stick. It felt a lot more welcoming when said and done. But that does go without saying that, for example, performing a mantle on a creature is a little bit harder now. I have yet to actually perform a mantle, say, on the Baroth or the Anja, because I still am having to learn how to mantle again. So, even though mantling is real easy once you do it the first time, to some players it is going to be harder to do, especially since not everybody's going to know what they're looking at, know what they're going to be doing. So that is there. But one thing that is kind of interesting is, while I can't guarantee the math behind the transitions between multiplayer and single player, it does feel like Capcom has somehow readjusted it to that. But when said and done, Monster Hunter itself, like I said, feels like a truly organic experience, whether you're playing online or offline, and it offers challenges that change based on what you're doing. Like I said, on multiplayer, my friends and I have run into different creatures. You know, on one of them we were hunting a Baroth, and we had another Baroth appear, whereas another group I was talking to had a Rathlos appear in the middle of hunting an Anja. So they definitely had to worry about that. But what's even more astoundingly well done is the fact that monsters feel natural to their habitat. You know, Baroth took me to where it's more comfortable, where I'm not going to be inflicting fire damage on him, since that's his weakness. You know, he's not going to be working against me as hard as he can, and in a lot of ways, he's preserving his capability as a creature, especially since in this river it can roll in mud and make my life an absolutely living hell, since my weapon is a fire weapon. And so that really works in the Baroth's favor more than it does mine, and water just makes it even harder for me to really make an impact with my fire weapons. So that does exist, but one of the issues with this game is, let alone does the game feel entirely organic. As you can see here, Baroth is limping, which, you know, that is highly expected, especially since, you know, I've been giving him a good beating for almost 16 minutes. So the game itself does come with its own scaling of difficulty. Now, one issue that I do want to talk about, aside from this minor annoyances I've had and minor applauses I've had, is when my friends and I were co-oping online, one problem it seems that Capcom does have to this day is for us to really jump in and enjoy the game together is, I'd say the matchmaking is problematic, because holy shit, folks. Let me tell you right now, and I apologize to our advertisers for the language, the multi-structure in the beta is so outdated. And I mean, it's so outdated to the extent that when my friends and I went to group, we had to enter what felt like a ungodly amount of characters, numbers, and letters for the quest ID for them to join me, that I actually felt like I was entering my password for my Wi-Fi connection at home, or that I was entering a password for a Steam account verification via the Steam Authenticator. Because I mean, holy crap, folks. What is going on with that design choice? I mean, that is uncalled for in a Monster Hunter game, where I should be able to just open a closed lobby, invite a few friends of mine to said lobby, and us go hunting. Not, oh, by the way, here's a quest ID that is so long that I might as well give you my entire home address and just tell you to come hang out at my house, because holy crap, we can't do this easily. And that is problematic, and it is something that I even I commented on when it came to Bloodborne with the chalices. Is the design choice there was poor, and you know, another poor design choice is these tracking flies. I don't really care for them all that much. To me, it takes away the challenge of the game. I'd rather, you know, have to look for a creature's tracks. You know, look for whatever kind of residue they would leave on the ground. Especially since, you know, these things are absolutely massive, and as you can see, the Baroth is leaving its footprints everywhere. So I think those two design choices are something that I hope Capcom improves on in the future, because this is a game that sits as one of my most anticipated games of next year already, next to Dissidia, NT, Days Gone, and The Last of Us Part 2. You know, I'm real excited for what this game has to offer, but like I said, holy crap, the multiplayer structure in this beta sucks. And it did suck right since the beta is over. And I don't want this beta end up with that kind of downer, especially since I don't want to have to go buy, you know, the PC version over the PS4 version, or get a review copy of the PC version over the PS4 version, because of the quest invite system just feels so outdated. But I'm not going to say that's going to be a make or break for this game. It really isn't. Overall, the beta itself is absolutely enjoyable. It's very well done. I loved what I experienced. And I feel that maybe the matchmaking system that I encountered was made just for the beta, where they could stress test the game, see what kind of bugs would pop up, get feedback from the fans, especially since they're down to crunch time. They got to get the game finished. They have to get ready to release, and I think that's kind of where this is at. Is that's what they're doing, and I really wish I could have played more to really get a feel for what the teams had, especially since the hunts feel like they had a lot more to offer than what I got to experience at that time. But I'm not going to say that itself is a drawback, since the multiplayer portion had a lot more to it than the single player version. But, I really enjoyed what I saw. And, in one version of this hunt, I saw a Anja actually attack my Baroth and almost kill Baroth for me. And I still had to worry about, that whole feeling of I have two creatures now fighting it out, and I'm caught in the middle of it, and I'm just this whimsy little hunter with nothing near as powerful as these godlike creatures. But that still goes to say, Monster Hunter World's name for this title fits, because this is the first time that I've actually felt like I'm a hunter in a world full of danger that could quite possibly, put me in demise and send me home packing until I come back to that hunt, which is something I really look forward to next year, and I really hope Monster Hunter World delivers that kind of experience. But with all that being said, this is definitely a game I'm going to be looking forward to next year, and I really hope to see you all out there enjoying. Now, if you do have any questions about the Monster Hunter World Beta, please leave them down in the comments. I know this video was kind of a rant, which it was kind of meant to be in a lot of ways. But if you have not pre-ordered and you are interested in pre-ordering the game does release on January 26, 2018 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and sometime in mid-2018 for Windows PC. I do hope all of you enjoyed what you saw. If you have not, please hit that subscribe button, and we will see all of you soon with some more content.